Good morning, welcome all of you. So this morning we are going to start a no, have a new beginning rather on thoughts and aphorisms. So before going for this great sayings, we must have a brief look on the what really this thoughts and aphorisms represent really. We know aphorisms. This is wise sayings. Everything is from Sri Aurobindo. So, Sri Aurobindo has quoted nicely on having a bright message on this thoughts and aphorisms. We can quote it right now. But actually, this topic of discussion for right now will be on origin divides and wisdom unifies. So that will be the topic of discussion. We know, and here we have glimpsed in the 547 aphorisms that make up this book. 547 that already we have seen one by one. We'll try to quote here. Sri Aurobindo gives pithy and pregnant expression to the some of the key words of his philosophy and yoga. So this we can find some expression nicely expressed with regard to his philosophy and his yoga. So let us have a beautiful message on this great book. Sri Aurobindo quotes here nicely. If mankind could but see through in a glimpse of fleeting experience, if mankind could but see, though in a glimpse of fleeting experience, what is infinity enjoyments, they are perfect forces. What luminous riches of spontaneous knowledge, what wide calms of our being lie waiting for us in the tracks which our animal evolution has not yet conquered. So many things are there. It is lies hidden. It is in front. We have not yet reached, conquered, visualized the things. They would leave all and never rest till it had been gained these treasures. So this is Charaipati, Charaipati. It is only in words. We have to go, we have to conquer, we have to meet, and we have to find out the what is has been unexplored, unreached. These treasures has to be gained. Again, here in the course, but the way is narrow, the doors are hard to force. Again, I'll quote it again. But the way is narrow, the doors are hard to force, and the fear, distrust, and skepticism are there. Fear, distrust, and skepticism is there. Sentinels of nature to forbid the turning away of our feet from her ordinary postures. So, this is the thing. So many things are there yet ungained, unexplored, unreached, unseen, unknown really. So this from this animal creation we have emerged on the way towards in on the way as the human form, and of course we are exploring towards the great distant past which is coming ahead, that is to gain the divinity, to find the godhead. So for that actually there are here in the course ways narrow, doors are hard to force, fear, distrust, and skepticism are there. So naturally we have to go for that. Actually we have to explore. Anyway, this is the topic we are new thinking and new taking in the form of thoughts and aphorisms. Thoughts we can know, and aphorisms, these are in very small and understandable word we can understand, that is wise sayings. Anyway, a few lines has been quoted about the thoughts and aphorisms. We know it has been divided into three parts. One is jnana, one is second is karma, and the third is bhakti. So publish while going for this publication and all, we have some minute entry, minute knowledge on this entire thoughts and aphorisms. So that's what we want to know. Thoughts and aphorisms was written around 1913. So 10 aphorisms from the manuscript were published in the monthly review of Aryan in 1915 and 1916 as part of what has been later issued as Thoughts and Glimpses. Only their number was 10 aphorisms. But the bulk of this aphorism, so far we have quoted 547 in numbers, that is, those included in the Karma, Jnana and Bhakti sections of the present booklet, were never published during Sri Aurobindo's lifetime. He has quoted but never published during his lifetime. They first appeared in the book form in 1958. The seven additional aphorisms, you can know additional aphorisms, it starts from 541 to starting from 541 to ending right at 547. So they were first included in edition of 1977. At last, five were written in a separate manuscript notebook, apparently somewhat later than others. So this is the story of this entire picture, and we are not actually no, we will be not in need to quote it again. Anyway, this is three parts we seen. Part one is Jnana, part two is Karma, and of course part three, that is Bhakti. So far this Jnana is concerned, it is really covering up to 204 messages and aphorisms, and then you start your Karma. It begins from 205 and expands up to at least 406. Then this the third part, it is bhakti portion, starts right out now at 407, and of course it is, spans up to 540. Then additional aphorisms already we have quoted 541 to 547. This is a great description and a great mistake, of course, analysis on these thoughts of aphorisms of Sri Aurobindo. Anyway, this is the beginning period, and we are going to have a short discussion. Of course, it will be partially, will take in parts. It will cover some more. So this Jnana portion will visualize today. Mainly, we will discuss today on region divides and wisdom in unifies. From that we can start. It is number 8. Region, most of the human people, human mind is there, so they have got the region. One more mind we have seen in our very outset, among many minds, one reasoning mind is there. So region that scans and breaks, as mother quotes in the from the before the Lord of Death. But thing is that here Sri Aurobindo has quoted everything that it was taken from Savitri, that was Sri Aurobindo's magnum opus. Sri Aurobindo quotes here in number 8, region divides. So region divides, fixes details and contrasts them. Fixes details and contrasts them. But what about wisdom? Wisdom unifies. Region divides. It breaks into parts. But wisdom unifies and marries contrast in a single harmony. Contrasts are married in a single harmony. That is the difference between region and of course wisdom. In one point of time, in one part, region divides, fixes details and contrasts them, and wisdom that unifies, marries contrasts in a single harmony. So let us go for the Jnana chapter, where number 1, Sri Aurobindo has quoted nicely. There are two allied powers in man. Sri Aurobindo quotes, there are two allied powers in man, knowledge and wisdom. Already we have seen quoted right now. So two allied powers we visualize normally. One is knowledge and the second is wisdom. Knowledge is so much of the truth seen. Knowledge, what really knowledge is, then we'll come for the second part, that is wisdom. Knowledge is so much of the truth seen in a distorted medium in the mind, arrives by groping. So what really is seen, that superficial, external, on the surface things, what is seen, maybe that is taken as the knowledge, but it is partial, half true, and we are taking it to the entirety. It is as if it seems as if it is full. So mind arrives at the distorted medium, because already that original truth, original wisdom, original knowledge has been distorted, perverted here in this medium. But the wisdom, what the eye of the divine vision sees in the spirit, that is the difference only. Really, this wisdom is totally different. Wisdom, what the eye of the divine vision, not human distorted, perverted human vision. Actually, that is perverted, distorted human vision, that what it has seen in partial on the surface, that is knowledge. But here wisdom, so far this wisdom is concerned, that is the eye of the divine vision sees in the spirit. Eye of the divine vision sees in the spirit, that is wisdom. But knowledge, it is perversion, a distortion of the medium where mind arrives at groping. Again, we'll go for the second one. Inspiration is a slender river of brightness leaping from a vast and eternal knowledge. Inspiration, how will this is getting inspired? We must have inspiration. So many ways we talk of. Inspiration is a slender river of brightness. Slender, not fully vast. Slender river of brightness leaping from a vast and eternal knowledge. It exceeds reason. It definitely, inspiration exceeds reasons more perfectly than reason exceeds the knowledge of the senses. So that is the difference. Very interestingly, it has been described about bright comparison of inspiration with reason and knowledge. Again, I'll try to quote. Inspiration is a slender river of brightness leaping from a vast and eternal knowledge. So this inspiration exceeds reason. This inspiration exceeds reason. Already it is told, slender river of brightness, leaping from a vast and eternal knowledge. From a vast and eternal knowledge, like a slender river of brightness, it has leaped down. And it exceeds reason more perfectly than reason exceeds knowledge of the senses. Reason normally exceeds the knowledge of the senses, and this inspiration, it exceeds reason more perfectly than than the second condition. I mean, reason exceeds knowledge in the senses. So number 3 we are going to quote up. When I speak, the reason says. Already you know, so far this jnana is concerned, we must have the knowledge, reason, analysis, reasoning mind. So many ways we try to reach at the conclusion. When I speak, the reason says. When I speak, the reason says. This will I say. This will I say. But God takes the word out of my mouth, and the lips say something else of which the reason trembles. Totally different. It is the difference between what I speak and what the God in the spirit, or God speaks in me. Anyway, I'll try it. We'll have a slender explanation on this. When I speak, the reason says. When I speak, the reason says, this will I say, this will I say. Reason says, I say. But thing is that on the second half we can go, but God takes the word out of my mouth. I say, God takes the word from my mouth, and the lips say something else at which reason trembles. Because this is the what, when I say, that mind says, that is narrow, confined, slender. When the God say, taking word from my mouth and expressing in his lips, that is something great, and then reason trembles. So again we will go for another one. I am not a jnani, for I have no knowledge except what God gives me for his work. That is a great submission, you know. I am not a jnani, for I have no knowledge except what God gives me in his work. How am I to know whether what I see is reason or folly? That is what? That is the question. Because how God guides, what He speaks through me. That's what I know, because I am not a jnani. Nay, it is neither, for the thing seen is simple true, or neither fully nor reason. That is what Sri Aurobindo quotes. Nay, it is neither, not at all, for the thing seen is simply true, neither fully nor reason. Very different, difficult to visualize. Again, number 5 we are going. If mankind could but see, though in a glimpse of fleeting experience, what the infinity enjoyments, if mankind, not one or two, here in the course of the mankind, if mankind could but see through the glimpse, could see, though in a glimpse of fleeting experience. Gleam of fleeting means it is passing up. Fleeting experience, what is infinity enjoyment? What perfect forces, what luminous reaches of spontaneous knowledge, what wide calms of being, our being lie waiting for us in the tracks which our animal evolution has not yet conquered. Great things, vast things, and enormous things are there. Actually, we have not reached. Our evolution is yet to be reached, yet to reach there, and it has not been conquered by our animal evolution. They would live all and never rest till they have gained these treasures. It has to be gained, it has to be conquered, it has to be reached, it has to be known. But unless otherwise it is done, that evolution can stop here, it can't cease. But the way is narrow, the doors are hard to force. Already we have seen. The way is narrow. From that message we have quoted in the very initial line from Sri Aurobindo. The way is narrow, the doors are hard to force, and fear and distrust and skepticism. Fear and distrust and skepticism, really, they are there. Sentinels of nature to forbid the turning away of our feet from our ordinary pastures. These are there. We have to go, we have to reach, we have to conquer. And unless otherwise we have reached there and conquered, this journey will never cease. Of course, you know, evolution is a slow process, and human animal evolution, it is hard to describe, hard to reach. Again, number 6, we are going. Let I learned that when reason died, then wisdom was born. Very interesting, very clarifying sentence, message by from Sri Aurobindo. I learned when the reason died, not knowledge. When the reason died, then wisdom was born. Before that liberation, I had only knowledge. That is, in a single small sentence, three things have been quoted in a very harmonious way. Late I learned that when reason died, then wisdom was born. Before that liberation, I had only knowledge. I had only knowledge, not the wisdom. Again, what men call knowledge. So far, we are considering and concentrating upon a lot of things. What men call knowledge is the reasoned acceptance of false appearances. What men call knowledge is the reasoned acceptance of the false appearances. Wisdom look behind the veil and sees. Because you know, knowledge only it is the surface phenomenon. But wisdom, what really the speciality of wisdom, you know what it actually does. Wisdom looks behind the veil and sees. Behind the veil, everything that knowledge, reason, everything is there, but wisdom penetrates, it looks behind and sees. And already we have seen that topic. Reason divides, fixes details and contrasts them. But you know, wisdom that unifies, marries contrasts in a single harmony. That is the speciality of wisdom. Number 9, either don't give the name of knowledge to your beliefs only, and of error, ignorance, and charlatanism to the beliefs of others. That is a great thing. You must learn, you must know, you must try to practice in life. Either don't give the name of knowledge to your beliefs only, and error, ignorance, and charlatanism to the others. That is what, you know, your belief, that is the difference, between yours and others. And don't then again, don't rail at the dogmas of the sects and their intolerance. That is that you don't know, first you do. Either don't give name of knowledge to your beliefs, name of your knowledge to your beliefs about others, error, ignorance, and charlatanism to the beliefs of other, or don't don't slide down on at the dogmas of the sects and other intolerance. Number 10. Of course, we are going to stop it here for this for today this session. What the soul sees and has experienced, it is the matter of soul. What the soul sees and experienced, that is that it knows. The rest is appearance, prejudice, and opinion. That is what already we have seen. What the soul sees and has experienced, that is that it knows. For the soul has come for this purpose of experiencing, advancing, developing. What the soul sees is and experiences, that it knows. The rest, what it knows, not seen or not known, appearances, prejudice and opinions. Anyway, this is a great description, great time, and we have just have a great starting. Next step onward, we'll go in steps one by one. For this morning, and for this glorious morning, let us cease here, stop here. Bande Mataram.